Leclerc breaks the silence. Ferrari shaken to its core. Words sharper than any lap time. And just before Austin faith inside Maranello collapses. Leclerc's words didn't come from impulse. They came from months of silent endurance, from a man who has given everything to a machine that gives nothing back. For the past year, Ferrari's engineers have been chasing a car that refuses to behave like the one they designed. On paper, the SF25 was meant to be Ferrari's Renaissance lighter, more efficient, and aerodynamic evolution built to challenge Red Bull's dominance. But what was drawn in Maranello didn't survive the translation to the tarmac. The first laps of the season already told a story few wanted to hear. The car is inconsistent, unpredictable, and unforgiving. Some days, it looks fast enough to fight for pole. Others, it barely holds the top 10. And every time Ferrari believes it has found a solution, the SF25 finds a new way to break their confidence. The problem lies deep within its structure, a mechanical and aerodynamic conflict that no amount of setup work can hide. Ferrari's engineers designed a car dependent on ultra-precise airflow management. In simulations, the design delivered stability and control. But in reality, the SF25's airflow collapses when the chassis encounters even minor bumps or braking pressure changes. The floor stalls, the rear becomes light, and the front loses feedback. For drivers like Leclerc and Hamilton, it's like racing on a tightrope with wind from every direction. The car doesn't respond, it reacts. Every corner becomes an act of faith, every lap a negotiation with instability. And that is what finally drove Leclerc to speak not anger, but exhaustion with uncertainty. Ferrari's engineers have thrown every weapon in their arsenal at the problem. They've changed suspension geometries, reworked floor edges, introduced new brake duct designs, even experimented with asymmetric cooling layouts to control tire temperatures. Each update promised improvement, and each one failed to deliver it. The more they adjusted, the more unpredictable the car became. It's as if the SF25 punishes interference. The more they try to fix it, the further it drifts from balance. This is why Leclerc's words cut so deep inside Maranello. They confirmed what the data had been quietly suggesting all along. The car has reached the ceiling of its potential. It's not about setup anymore. It's about physics. The psychological cost of that truth has been immense. For engineers, the greatest fear isn't failure, it's irrelevance. To realize that months of design, simulation, and sleepless nights have produced a machine that can't evolve is a professional heartbreak. Some within the factory describe the current mood as silent defeat. Meetings are quieter now, briefings shorter. Engineers still present data, but their tone has changed. Instead of enthusiasm, there's resignation. Instead of plans, there are explanations. Ferrari, the team once defined by passion, precision, and belief, now finds itself defined by fatigue. And Leclerc's statement, though simple, became the mirror they could no longer avoid. What makes this moment so unique is that Leclerc didn't lash out after a single bad race. His frustration has been building since the early European rounds. In Spain, he lost half a second per lap to cars with weaker engines but better balance. In Hungary, his tires overheated within 10 laps, forcing him into a two-stop strategy that destroyed his podium hopes. In Singapore, he fought the steering wheel like it was an enemy, finishing outside the top 5 for the third consecutive time. Each weekend brought new excuses: heat management, setup window, circuit sensitivity, but no progress. When he finally said, "I see no improvement," it wasn't a loss of patience. It was a diagnosis. He wasn't speaking to journalists. He was speaking to Ferrari. Fred Vasseur, usually measured and protective, understood the gravity immediately. He didn't try to silence Leclerc or spin the narrative. Instead, he called for an internal review that lasted 48 hours, analyzing every element of the SF25's performance correlation. The conclusion was devastating. The car's mechanical platform is too rigid for aerodynamic flexibility, and its aero platform too fragile for aggressive setups. In simple terms, the car contradicts itself. It can be fast but not stable. It can be stable but not fast. The very concept that promised versatility has trapped Ferrari in mediocrity. That's why Leclerc's declaration felt so final, because deep down, everyone at Ferrari knows he's right. Leclerc's statement didn't just sting the Ferrari leadership, it detonated inside the engineering department. The moment his words hit the airwaves, they traveled faster than telemetry. Within hours, screenshots of the quote were circulating among engineers, technicians, and aerodynamicists in Maranello's internal chat channels. For months, they'd lived under pressure to project confidence even when the numbers said otherwise. Now, one of their own, the driver they trusted most, had said publicly what they'd whispered privately. The SF-25 has reached its limit. There was anger, yes, but beneath it there was relief. Someone had finally told the truth. They were forbidden to speak. Fred Vasseur reacted as only a man backed into a corner could with action. He called for an immediate technical summit, summoning every head of department from the Gestion Sportiva campus. The meeting, according to insiders, was tense from the start. Vasseur's tone was sharp, his patience gone. He opened with a single question: why did Charles feel the need to say it for us? The silence that followed spoke volumes. No one wanted to admit what everyone knew, that the engineering division had run out of answers. They'd built a car that looked competitive in simulations, only to discover that its stability depended on conditions so precise they were nearly impossible to reproduce in the real world. The SF-25 wasn't just sensitive, it was fragile. And fragility in Formula One is death. The root of the crisis lies in the car's architecture. Ferrari's 2025 concept was designed around aggressive floor channels meant to maximize ground effect suction, pushing the car closer to the asphalt at high speeds. In theory, it was a masterpiece of aerodynamic efficiency, but in practice, those channels created thermal chaos. Under braking, heat radiated unevenly through the carbon fiber structure, causing microscopic flexing that disrupted airflow. The result was inconsistency, a car that could deliver perfect balance in one sector and lose all rear stability in the next. Engineers call it dynamic decoupling, a polite way of saying the car doesn't know what it wants to be. For Hamilton and Leclerc, that unpredictability has been torture. For the engineers, it's humiliation. When Vasseur demanded accountability, the finger-pointing began. The aerodynamic team insisted the chassis department ignored their data. The chassis group countered that aero simulations failed to reflect real-world stress. The software division blamed outdated correlation tools. It was a corporate autopsy, and every organ was infected. At one point, a senior performance engineer reportedly told Vasseur, "We've been trying to fix a ghost. Every lap gives us a different car." That comment ended the meeting. Vasseur left the room without a word, but those who saw him later described his face as calm, the kind of calm that comes after accepting the worst. Ferrari's boss now knew what Leclerc's statement truly meant. The problem isn't just technical, it's cultural. And that's where the story takes a darker turn. Ferrari's culture of perfection, the very DNA that built its legend, has become its greatest flaw. The fear of admitting weakness has strangled innovation. Updates are signed off too late. Testing windows are missed because no one dares to contradict the hierarchy. Engineers talk about data correlation as if it's religion, not science. When Leclerc said, "I see no progress," he wasn't just criticizing a car, he was exposing a mindset. It's the mindset of a team more focused on protecting reputation than pushing boundaries. Vasseur knows it, Hamilton knows it, and now the entire paddock knows it too. The response from Maranello has been twofold. Publicly, Ferrari maintains its composure. Press releases talk about refined development priorities and focused analysis ahead of Austin. Behind the scenes, however, the mood is entirely different. A small, hand-picked group of engineers has been ordered to start from zero to design a new aerodynamic platform concept independent of the SF-25's flawed structure. It's a quiet revolution inside the Red Fortress. Vasseur's instructions were direct: forget what's been done, build what works. It's the most radical directive a Ferrari principal has given since the Ross-Brawn era. Whether it leads to rebirth or rebellion will depend on how much freedom he truly grants them. Inside Ferrari's leadership circle, the atmosphere was electric with tension. Fred Vasseur, known for his composure, has been walking a political tightrope since the moment the words left Leclerc's mouth. Some board members wanted an immediate public rebuttal, a carefully crafted statement insisting the team remains united and confident in its development path. But Vasseur refused. "We don't fix problems with press releases," he said during an internal meeting. "We fix them by facing the truth." For a team that has spent decades defending its image at all costs, those words were revolutionary. For some, they were unforgivable. Vasseur's decision to back Leclerc publicly instead of silencing him has divided Ferrari's senior management. On one side are the traditionalists, executives and engineers who see Ferrari as an institution that must never expose weakness. On the other are the realists, led quietly by Vasseur himself, who believe the only way forward is through transparency, however painful. To the old guard, Leclerc's statement was a breach of discipline. To Vasseur, it was a warning shot he could use to force change. That's why he's been privately defending Charles behind closed doors, telling senior figures that his driver did what we all should have done months ago. It's an extraordinary admission from a team principal in a company famous for silencing dissent. But that defense has come at a cost. Ferrari's internal politics, already stretched thin, are now boiling. Matteo Tognanelli, head of track engineering, reportedly clashed with Vasseur during a strategy meeting, accusing him of letting emotion guide leadership. Their argument escalated to the point that technical staff had to step in. Tognanelli argued that Leclerc's words risked demoralizing the team before a crucial stretch of the season. Vasseur countered that morale built on illusion is worse than no morale at all. Witnesses described the exchange as one of the most explosive in Ferrari's modern history, a moment that exposed the cultural fault line between past and present. The message was clear: Ferrari can no longer hide behind tradition. Either it evolves or it implodes. And while management argued, the drivers stayed silent publicly, at least. Behind closed doors, Hamilton and Leclerc have grown closer than ever. What began as mutual respect has turned into quiet alliance. They've been seen spending more time together in simulator sessions, analyzing telemetry, discussing race approaches, even debating technical data that's normally kept separate. Both men understand that the real battle isn't on the track anymore, it's within the factory walls. If we don't drive change here, Hamilton reportedly told Leclerc, we'll be driving the same problems next year. It's the kind of partnership that scares leadership because it shifts the balance of power. When the drivers speak as one, management listens or risks losing control. Hamilton's role in this drama is subtle but crucial. He knows how political Formula One can be. He's lived it at Mercedes, he survived it at McLaren, and now he's navigating it at Ferrari. Insiders say he's been advising Leclerc privately, telling him to stay honest but strategic. They'll respect truth in the long run, he told him after the fallout from the interview. It's a lesson Hamilton learned the hard way. In Formula One, honesty is dangerous, but silence is deadly. His calm presence has given Leclerc something Ferrari hasn't been able to provide: perspective. Together, they represent two generations of drivers united by the same frustration and the same hope to make Ferrari believe in itself again. Meanwhile, inside Maranello's technical corridors, the emotional ripple effect has been dramatic. Some engineers feel liberated by the truth, finally free to speak openly about what's gone wrong. Others feel exposed, even betrayed, believing Leclerc's words have painted them as failures in front of the entire world. The divide has turned meetings into battlegrounds between those who want to defend their work and those who want to tear it all down and start again. The irony is that both sides are right. Ferrari's problem isn't incompetence, it's inertia. The team is full of brilliant minds trapped in a system that rewards caution over creativity. Leclerc's statement didn't create the chaos, it revealed it. The fallout has reached beyond the factory. Sponsors have started asking questions, investors are pressing for clarity, and the Italian press, never gentle with Ferrari, has turned merciless. Headlines read like postmortems: the House of Red in crisis, Leclerc breaks the myth, Vasseur's gambit backfires. Yet amid the noise, there's an undeniable shift in tone. For the first time in years, Ferrari isn't being criticized for arrogance or denial. It's being acknowledged for facing its reality. Painful as it is, the truth has made Ferrari human again, vulnerable, flawed, but alive. As the team prepares for Austin, that vulnerability will be on full display. The Red Garage, once defined by swagger and ceremony, now operates with quiet intensity. There are no bold predictions, no grand promises. Just work long, silent hours of it. The drivers know what the engineers know. The car won't suddenly transform, but the culture might. And that's the seed Leclerc planted when he spoke out. He forced Ferrari to choose between protecting its myth or rebuilding its future.